All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, 2 days left, site-wide flash sale. Come check that out. Awesome deals involved there, including active trader. Which has just been a smash hit lately. Anyways, let's get into it here today. So markets here with a pretty good reversal. So again, another bear trap at the lows today. If we take a look at the intraday, every time we get below, 53.35 area, and I talked about 53.25 yesterday getting tested. Effectively, it did here today. Didn't quite pierce it like I would have liked, but every time we get below that little pivot there, and I think it's a little bit easier to see on the futures personally. But you're going to see here, it's really like that 53, yeah, it's almost the same area, 53.30, 53.40 to 45. But, 1, 2, 3, 4, you could argue that this was a fifth hit there. And each time we pierce it, it's a failed breakdown and a bear trap. So very good price action here. Another trap at the lows. And it's very reminiscent of that non-farm payroll on Friday, where we spiked it, made a lower low to the previous dip, right? We made a lower low to that previous dip, lower low to this dip. And that's where that real trap comes in play. When you get that lower low, you get a lot of shorts on board, a lot of puts in play, and then we can take it up to the high. So now we're looking at a pretty mature base here. So we've got 4 days of consolidation above the moving averages, and each time we try to come down, dip buyers are willing to step in. So I don't think there's really any reason to believe that won't happen tomorrow on CPI. Again, based on the flows I'm seeing, the price action I'm seeing, and then the cycle work that I've done on this, I don't really think there's much that's going to derail this at the moment. So even if we get hot CPI, cold CPI, a slightly more hawkish than expected Fed, I don't think that's going to be enough to derail it. Again, 5 sigma B. I'm going to keep saying that over and over because it's a big deal. 5 sigma B. It's 100,000 more. I mean, double the jobs, created than was the, 100,000 more, whatever it was, created than was expected on last Friday. And we had a whopping 15-minute sell-off. And then it was a failed breakdown and we went higher. So again, if that's not unpinning us, I'm not really sure what would. I don't think the Fed is really, the data is not really that much different now than how it was last time. So I can't see Powell changing his stance. And I don't think as long as the Fed doesn't do a 180 on policy, or they don't cut or raise, I think the market's just going to kind of continue to grind here. This really needs something to unpin it, and I don't really see that here at the moment. So again, next target here is 5,400. If we break through 25, you have to do more backing and filling to 53, and that would be the first real invalidation for me, is below 5,300, especially on a weekly close. You would still have plenty of room on the weekly chart for other things to happen, more consolidation, but that would just be the other side of it. And again, we're just kind of setting up for another trend leg here. And it's going to be interesting, too, because a lot of talk has been made about NVIDIA. And by the way, NVIDIA, this is a fake print, obviously. So that came in through yesterday, I believe. So obviously that is not on the chart there. But a lot has been made about NVIDIA is the market. NVIDIA is the whole market. The only reason the market's rallying is NVIDIA this, NVIDIA that, NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, NVIDIA, semiconductors, chips, Taiwan, whatever. Greatest company in the history of companies ever, and it's not close, right? But that said, NVIDIA is down today, right? And market had a really good dip buy. So NVIDIA can back off. And you can just have Apple, which everybody hated a few weeks ago. And I talked about this. I said, if there's a Mag 7 stock I might be interested in, it might be Apple. And everybody's like, Apple, their earnings are declining. Yeah, but Tim cooked, though, with his little buyback. And you can talk about how it's playing foul and financial engineering, but the bottom line is it's pushing the stock higher. And it may look extended on the daily, but guess what? This is why you go out to your bigger time frame. You don't be ignorant, and you use all time frames. I say this every single day almost, because people don't listen, and they just look at the daily. What kind of pattern is that? All right? This is a monthly chart here. I mean, this is just bullish consolidation. That's all it is. And it's on the monthly. Look at those moving averages. I mean, perfectly spaced out, nice and tight pattern. You know, this is how you look. This is how you would draw up a pattern. Look at the weekly. So we're just now on breakout here. So there's really not. I mean, yeah, the daily, it might have to do some backing and filling, but it can just go sideways for a little bit, right? They don't have to pull back. And about NVIDIA, I'm saying that to say this. Here's Microsoft too. Again, same kind of setup. It's a little bit smaller, but if these two break out, NVIDIA can just do nothing or pull back in the summertime, and it won't matter. You know, if you got stocks like Netflix, which, full disclosure, I have some Netflix here. Look at this tight pattern in the daily. Weekly, bullish, right? These things can go, you know, some of these catch-up plays can go higher. I've talked about small caps here. Still making those weekly higher lows. If this ever starts to catch up, it's going to be huge. So, again, NVIDIA doesn't have to be the only one pushing the market higher. And that's been my thesis for a while. I think chips will stall out probably around June OPEX. And then you'll get some other sectors to start pick up the slack. And that's how we'll inch higher throughout the summer. At least that's sort of my base case right now. But outside of that, in other news, we have GameStop continuing to hold that level. I showed you yesterday the kind of pivot high, pivot high, pivot high. And we did tag it. I believe it was a 618 as well. And I was kind of hoping we would get there in a more straight line because I wanted to play it. But yeah, so it's not going to be exact. Oh, no, it's close. This was like a 786, but it was close. But either way, you hit that level and it's holding, right? So pretty good bit. I heard Roaring Kitty was down only to 8.3% in the money on his calls as of this morning. I'm sure it's higher now, but I mean, pretty wild swings, and especially the fact that he hasn't sold. Something else stinks about this. Something else is going to happen here. But he does need a catalyst for this to get going, because if you start to inch back towards 20, I showed you guys the GEX yesterday on this. If you start to inch back towards 20, those calls are just going to get roasted. AMC also had a pretty good day here, up 12.5. And yeah, pretty decent price action. It's pulling back in. A lot of supply up here around 560, 580 though. But memes popping back up. We'll see what we get tomorrow. IWM, or let's go to the Qs here. Yeah, so Qs, new all-time high. Hey, new all-time high, new all-time closing high, and NVIDIA is red, so we can't talk about how that's the case now. QQQ here, we're looking at about 470 in the short term for the next kind of short-term target. That should line up with 5400 SPX or so. IWM got really close. Again, I talked about that 618 again. I was really rooting for it, but it ended up just being double bottom. And there's the RTY. I just wanted, you couldn't, come on, you couldn't get down 5 more points, right? So maybe they're watching the video, I don't know. But it got close there and came off the lows again. So RTY still holding up. Diamond here, again, same kind of thing. Dip early and then a good higher low. So a little test candle, look what it tested to, 385. Let's actually look at the YM. Yep, right there, chop around, and then a breakout. Good test candle there on the YM, closing back inside of this range. If this starts to break up, you're looking at 39.5, which is about 393. Maybe even closer to 394 on the diamond. Chips, again, down 52 cents on the day. Socks, flat as a pancake. But again, Q's up 62 basis points. How can that be? NVIDIA's red. Doesn't have to be green. Contrary to what everybody thinks. It doesn't have to be green. It's market, right? Indexes are pinned, right? Volatility's pinned at an index level. So when one thing's down, other things are going to be up. One of those things could be IGV, up 25 cents. Good failed head and shoulder pattern on the weekly. I'm thinking this works its way back up towards that trend line again. So good price action there. Dow Transports on the day. They are red, but still holding up. And still inside of that kind of green here. This needs to have a zigzag. You've got to get back above 15.2 and then 15.3, and then it can go higher. All right, interest rates today came in pretty good. If I can get our chart up there. There we go. So interest rates came in pretty good here, but good bit off the lows last Friday, and then 2-year coming down. The long end came in a little bit more. We had an auction, and that gave us a pretty good pop in bonds. Take a look. We got to that trend line. It's not exact, but we did kind of trade through it, and we are rejecting off of that. So we'll see. Yields need a higher low here, but you know, even higher yields on Friday again didn't really spook the market off. But yeah, we'll see what we get. If we come down, 4.2 is still a pretty good level though for the 10-year, and you know, 4.33 area for the 30s. Yields coming down a little bit, that does help the market to rally. XHB inside day here. We violated that trend line. I want to see what the weekly close is though. All right, VNQ here, down 33 cents. Still got a decent pattern. Sloppy, but it's decent. I think it still wants to work its way back up towards 85. XLF, little outside move here. So a little bit of weakness there. I'm going to get rid of that 40 handle there. I don't think we need that anymore. And I don't think we need this either, at least for right now. You can make a case you have a smaller kind of mini head and shoulder there. That could take you down. So 42, yeah, it's about $2. So that would take you down into like this area, most likely. But at the same time, again, look at those bigger time frames. It's, you know, you could just make a case this is just bigger picture consolidation. But technically that's triggered right now as long as we close below that line. So we'll watch that. KRE, a pretty good dip here. Still needs to hold, you know, these lows, especially on a weekly close. That's where it gets concerning, but it can trade inside of this range and be okay. KBE, so that head and shoulders has triggered. I'm still thinking that 40, even though the measured move technically would take you like down to here, I'm thinking max move is probably about 43 bucks. And again, technically, your weekly chart still has the green bar that has not been negated. Broker dealers here, outside move. So pretty much all banks kind of weaker today. 610 short-term support. Market's closing about 30 seconds here. So nice front-running bid there. We'll see what CPI looks like tomorrow. There should be some good algo moves, good trades tomorrow. Anyway, oil here, up 15 cents. I'm actually impressed with oil. So I talked about how crowded this trade was. I did pick the low on this. I sold it probably a little too early, but whatever. It's easy money there. I wasn't looking for a huge move. But yeah, good price action. I like the hourly here and even like a 4-hour. So up move here, and it's just trying to consolidate. There's the bell. I'd say 80 is probably your max move though right now. And it may even need to consolidate a little bit more to get there. But good recovery for oil. 80 is going to be pretty stiff resistance though if it tries to get up there. XLE down 18 cents. Nothing doing there. Still inside of that channel. XOP. And OIH still holding up. So a pretty good outside candle there on OIH yesterday. That could probably trade its way up to about 320. CCJ finally a little bit of chart damage here on the daily. So good outside move down 5.2, holding the 50 MA. And it's got a little bit of a bid off it after the lows, so it was defended there. The weekly chart is still just fine though. Until you start really getting back below $50 on a weekly close, that's when you can start to say, okay, we have maybe a failed breakout here, but still look at the trend here. It's up very nicely. It's not overbought, it's not extended, it's just grinding higher. So it's got a lot of work to do to be damaged, but I don't think it's anywhere near there yet. URNM, watch the $50 handle as well, and then below that on the weekly is the 50-week moving average. But this could get a bounce here. There's your 200. Could get a bounce there, and we'll see where that finishes out the week. Nat gas doing nat gas things. So after that big reverse, look at this volatility. Look at that sell intraday yesterday, and then boom, right back up. So I did close my runner position on this. Still a very nice gain on that, and we'll see. Does it want 320 on July? If it somehow moons and does more nat gas things, we'll say, you know, around 350 is going to be, I'd imagine, extremely stiff. And that's if you even get through this. But and then if we want to look at August, you know, 340, 350, same kind of area. But very, very nice reversal. And what I'll say for nat gas is August is above the 523 pivot, whereas July is not. So that's a good sign for, longer term, like the curve essentially. So we'll see what we get there. Typically this does like to top out in June. So I'm not long either. If anything, I'm looking for a sign of a top here, but I'm not short at the moment either. I don't just step in front of this unless I see something I really, that compels me to jump into it. Like yesterday. Dollar index here up 11 cents. Good move here. Nice move off the lows, and it's holding up well. Is this going to crash the market if the dollar inches up? I don't think so. The dollar is, in fact, I keep seeing this stuff like, oh, the dollar is going to go higher, and that's going to bring the market down. Well, has it done that all year? No, it hasn't. So some of these correlations are decoupled right now. I wouldn't worry too much about it. But bullish inside bar there on the dollar on the weekly, and that's still very strong and healthy. Gold here, little micro uptick here today. We'll see what that does tomorrow with CPI. I'm thinking lower. First big support is 22.50. Silver, slight outside move. Almost an engulfing candle, but it came off the lows. 50 MA is a little bit of support here in the short run. I'd prefer to see this come a little bit lower, though. Again, very crowded trade. And that's starting to work thatself off now. Platinum slicing below that trend line. Again, I want to see that on the weekly close there. I haven't stepped in front of this or any of the metals in a while. Palladium may want that double bottom. Speaking of crowded trade, there's another one. Copper down 3 cents. I don't know what it wants to do here, but 425 is my level for it, if it can get there. All right, Bitcoin here, outside move down. Again, still inside of the green bar on the daily, though. So just be aware of that. And again, everybody's going to get hyper fixated on the daily. Oh, Bitcoin sold off today. You got to go short. You got to go bearish. But the weekly, just more dominant. There's no problems here. Nothing wrong. Bullish consolidation, tight pattern. Moving averages are starting to catch up to price. So there's no problems here. Plus another thing I like is I noticed some of the miners today, well, not that coin's a miner, but I like the tails, right? I like the tail candles that some of these put in today. Red to green day. So I like to see that type of stuff there. It's just another little thing to look for. But again, here, let's take a look. 53.75. Yeah, so we only got 25 points to go to get to 4K. Good move there. Looks like they slammed the GEX in the last second there, because it was at 53.60 all day long. So I don't know where they came up with that, but big move there. Look at that tight bull inside bar and a nice pop there into the close. Q's same thing. New all-time closing high for the Q. Is that new all-time close? Yeah, new all-time closing high for the spiders, and a new all-time high. Period. Yeah, so high right there. Very good price action here, and futures look good. Nice tight pattern. So market's acting well right now, and I think even if we get dips, they'll likely be bought, and we're not that far away from 5,400 right now. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here for the next stop. So, anyways, guys, gonna wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.